What we do, it's everyone's favorite boomer and vintage lens enthusiast. Today we're going to look at Zoom Nikkor 28 to 50 3.5. Constant 1 to 3.5 aperture. Small, compact, stops down to f/22. It's on the, believe it or not, the Canon Rebel T1i EOS. That's because, let's look, they actually have an adapter that fits Nikon F lenses onto Canon EOS bodies. This is the Novoflex adapter, made in Germany. It's easy enough to get off. You just got to remember that you got to twist it the opposite way of a Canon lens, that's all. That's the only confusing thing. So look at that, huh? Novoflex. There's a red dot and a red dot. Where's the red dot here? I guess I just find it somehow. Oh, well, you see when you push this lever, that lever here, it lifts that pin up. That's the locking pin. So that's it. Let's see, it has to be around here somewhere. Oh, there we go. All right, look at that. That's nice and snug. And then there's another red dot. You line up with that red dot. And that's it. So I went to the park on the 9th, and the trees were changing rapidly. And I used this. This is an interesting lens. It goes to, that's 28, that's 50. And then the macro mode is right there. They get down to 0.32 meters. How about that? That's less than 1.25 feet. So you get pretty close. But I noticed that most of the subject matter was right there. There's like a little indent right there. And it seemed like almost all my focusing was there. Because otherwise you'd have to be like that far away from the subject. So I had this on M, manual mode. I would set the aperture. Well, actually what I would do is I would focus, right, wide open. Then I would stop down to f8 usually. Then I would pick a shutter speed. Well, this thing would tell me. I was going like one stop under, but I still had to adjust for highlights. So I'll have to look into that some more. But you know, it's totally manual. And the fact that you could use this on the camera and make some minor adjustments and get a great picture is pretty cool. I gotta admit, it's hard to focus. You have to focus wide open at 3.5. And then if you're in the shadows or poor light, it's going to be very ambiguous to get a correct focus. Now, infinity focus is right on the money. If you go like that, then you're in infinity focus. Everything's good. But then I noticed that things that were close to infinity is hard to judge sometimes. So you got to make sure you take advantage of depth of field, stop down a little bit. So I bought this camera brand new. It's the last camera I bought brand new. The Rebel T, well, I bought another, I'm not going to mention that now. Canon, man, they want you to rope into their EOS EF ecosystem. They want you to buy their lenses. Now, the earlier cameras had an aerial screen in there, which is virtually impossible to focus manually. This one has a much better screen where you can focus. I can actually see the changes. But if you're an old fart, like a boomer, sometimes your eyes ain't that great and it's hard to see, to find detail. But I managed somehow. And I was shooting mostly 400 ISO, 800 ISO, and I did one 1600 ISO, I don't know. What was I going to do with this camera? What I could get for $100 for it if I turned it in? So it was sitting fallow for a while. And I said, you know, I'll buy this adapter and I'll throw these Nikkor lenses on it and see what it's all about. Now, I also happen to have the T3i and the SL2. Plus, I have the, I bought a used 5D Mark II. And all these lenses, they're all going to be tried out in those other cameras to see what's the best fit. Now, when you buy a vintage lens, this is a full frame 35mm lens. So if you do pick up a used mirrorless camera or use DSLR that's full frame, you're good to go. So you would think, since you're seeing this only the central portion of this lens, all the pictures will be perfect. And they are nice, I gotta admit that. The one thing that's gonna hold you back is your ability to focus on the screen. Now you could use a focusing aid like this, right? What does it say? It's 2.5x or 1.25x. The only problem is because it slips on like this, you're gonna have to do weird gymnastics to frame your picture. Now, Canon does make a straight through one, but it's been discontinued. I don't know what to say. But they also make, which they just recently discontinued, is these little eyepiece magnifiers. This doesn't come off. I think it just slides over this. It looks like a little extra magnifying glass that goes over. I don't know how they work. I wish I could have seen one in a store somewhere, but I'm getting by somehow. Now, the T1i does have a live view mode. Let's turn it on, see what it's all about. Now, if I press the live view mode, you see it goes up, but nothing happens because it senses there's no lens hooked up to it. But if I go into the adept mode, I could see stuff. Now I could focus, right? I could focus on stuff. And then when I'm done, I would go back to manual. Shut the live view off, because live view is funny. If you're in live view and you compose everything and you click the shutter button, the mirror flips down and back up again because it has something to do with the chip has to blink out. So it's not a true mirrorless camera, so to speak. But that's a good trick to know. The T3i has a live view mode, the SL2 has a live view mode, and the D5 Mark II has a live view mode. So that's very useful. Still, it's an extra step you gotta go through, and it may disrupt your composition or capturing spontaneous moments and stuff. So you are going backwards. It's like having a regular SLR, but it's digital. It's not exactly the same, but it is the same. So I think it's an interesting combination. When you buy a piece of gear, especially if you get it at a discount, and then you use your other gear more and you take more pictures, well, then that's good for photography, for your experience and how to take pictures and stuff. So don't discount it. And the proof is in the pudding. Let's look at some photos, and then you could decide if I wasted my time or not. Full frame reduced crop at 28 millimeters. This is a Nikkor zoom, 28 to 50 millimeter. This is the same picture, but this is a 1-to-1 crop, sort of in the middle, just to give you an idea of what it's like. The Canon T1i is like 16 megapixels. So this is the 50 millimeter full frame crop, just to give you an idea of what to expect from it. And this is a 1-to-1 crop of that picture of the middle, and you can see there is a 2x magnification to it. It's a nice lens. I really like it. Make sure you clean the lenses though whenever you go out and it's been sitting fallow for a while. You always, the front element and the rear element, always clean them off. 28 millimeters. Here's the infamous wall that ancient astronauts built. This is at 28 millimeters and cropped. Same wall, 50 millimeters and cropped. I forgot to adjust the screen brightness, so I did that. I boosted it up, so this way it'll look more natural, and I can make adjustments. Although I was shooting at -1, the camera told me I was shooting at a -1 f-stop using the shutter speed. So yeah, fall's a grand time, colorful. And you can see a lot of the trees are bare in the background. This tree is losing a lot of its leaves too. But then if you walk like 1,000 feet away, there's a lot of green See here, these two trees were going first. Ones in the background were turning, and you see that's a lot of weeds and bramble in the front. I don't know where the sumac tree came from, but it was like standing out. So I used f8, focused close. In the background, of course, it was blurry, especially at 50 millimeters. It's a nice lens. A walking around lens, you can't beat it. I don't live by the Himalayas or the Grand Tetons or Bryce or Zion or any of those cool places, but I live next to this park and it's mellow. It's really, really mellow. I was having troubles taking this picture because I didn't want to shoot everything at 1000 or 1600. So, you know, I did the best I could with this. Oh, this is the 1-to-1 crop from that previous picture. There's all these dapply patterns on the water, which was pretty cool. I used a flash on this. I still had to boost the shadows though, but that's sort of what it looked like when you were standing there. I used ISO 1600 on this. What possessed me to do that? Well, I guess I was just trying to get a decent shutter speed and a different a good aperture. So here we are back to some normal stuff. 50 millimeters. I use this a lot. 50 millimeters or 28 millimeters. That's just the way it played out. I like these creeping vines, you know, when they turn red on the tree trunks like that. And f8 does not have a lot of depth of field. If you focus on the foreground, you're on the background's going to be blurry, no doubt about it. This is one of those 50 millimeter in the macro modes. And another macro mode, you know, it's the close focusing section of the lens. Here's a shot over the lake. So there's still some green there. So the trees are turning, and then what's going to happen in 5 days from now, everything's going to be down. And I go there in the morning, and there's a lot of challenging shadows there. So this tree was partially in the sun and partially in the shade. These are the cattails and all that stuff. Let's see if we get some heavy snow and it get beat down. Here's that tree. I was just at a different angle, and I was able to get a different picture. This is cropped 28 millimeters. On the way out, there was this one tree there, and the leaves were changing, and you know, the next day they was completely gone. So I got at the right moment. Here's a 1-to-1 crop of that previous picture. Fine detail, excellent lens, and of course it was challenging because it was you know, manual.